Isn't he Mexican?
Colombian.
He calls himself American.
What is this?
Anchor Baby.
And in this corner, it's the American Anchor Baby.
Daddy's home.
That's an offensive term. People find that hurtful.
You mean it's not politically correct? Excuse me. I'll use the word anchor baby.
You know, he's an anchor baby in Canada.
Tell him we still rolling with Trump, too.
Anchor baby, the whole thing sounds horrific. You're just making it sound like immigrants are these horrific, greedy people.
Ustedes pueden aceptar mi negocio o aceptar las consecuencias. Plata o plomo.
So you would be considered white, in my opinion.
You the blackest one in this room.
I think so.
And what happened was his mama got pregnant on the other side of the border. And then a few hours before, just before it was time for him to pop out, she jumped across the border and let him fall on American soil. So he became the anchor baby. You don't call him the anchor baby for nothing. Amazing.
We like this anchor baby, right?
Hello, I'm the American Anchor Baby, and this is my show. Appreciate you tuning in. How y'all doing? Apologies on coming in a couple minutes late there, pretty late. You know, I thought I'd make it. I was at the dentist. I was getting my teeth cleaned, so I appreciate the patience. I'm going to be speaking a little bit slow. I'm on that lidocaine, and I'm driving that train. How y'all doing, everybody? My right side of my mouth is numb, but I think we'll be okay. How y'all doing? How'd you enjoy your weekend? Welcome. I see you guys coming in. So yeah, I'll speak a little slowly. I didn't think they'd do the deep cleaning today, but thank you, Bond. Thank you, all of you. Getting it all together, and I'm getting my teeth fixed. Right on. You gotta love it. Do you think it's a tax write-off? Since I'm in the industry, it's for the camera. I'm doing it for the people. I'm biting my tongue too. That might hurt later. But we're gonna keep it pushing and speak slowly. Maybe this is good for me. This is in fact probably a very good thing. To slow down, right? Forcing me to slow down. Nix, your tongue is hanging out. Oh, geez. But we're going to keep it pushing. I hope you enjoyed your flight this past Friday. We had a nice flight. We landed. All right, we're gonna just ignore that part. Maybe we didn't quite land, but we're just not going to talk about it. It's too painful. I don't want to talk about it. It's just too painful. I think about 100 plus souls gone. We were right there too. The runway was right there. But your pilot just, slammed into the runway. Maybe 100 miles per hour faster than you should have. Yeah, the plane's not really meant for that, but we had a nice flight though. It was fun. So thank you for everyone that joined on Friday. You don't want to miss it. Hit the notification bell and all that. Ew, that deep clean hurts. Charlie Church. It was okay. I don't know. It hurt good. It hurt so good. Let me get situated here. Open up my show, It's gonna be off the top, I think. Not I think, it has to be. It has to be off the top. But there are things that are on my mind, so allow me to get into it. As well as you can call in 888-775-3773 if you want to jump on there. Sion, thank you for those coffees. Thank you for that. You can buy me a coffee. That's buymeacoffee.com/anchorbaby. She writes, shout out to It's the Real Mr. Mad. He love your show and Bond and Rome and 790 the rest of the people I didn't block. LOL. Oh. I didn't know things were so contentious. I appreciate it, Sion. Thank you for that. Carver, hold up. There's even more super chats. Carver, thank you for that. Says flying high, not on pot, but on lidocaine. on loan from God. Lidocaine, it's the numbing agent that dentists use, okay? Anyways, driving that train. You're slobbering, Nick. Come on. Let me mute the mic. I need a hygienist. I need a hygienist to come in here with that little suction thing, because this is a mess. But I'm glad I'm getting that done. They were telling me they love my teeth. They were saying you have such amazing teeth. So, anyways. So church, we had church. What did I want to get into here, folks? Give me a second. I just came in, ran in, and there are some things on my mind. Church was on my mind a bit. Church fellowship this past Sunday. We didn't do our assignment. Who got in trouble? Who got detention? We didn't do our assignment. Folks, who's in trouble? If you didn't catch church this past Sunday, the assignment about heroes. You know, I thought I was right about that. Okay. He had this assignment where he said you had to get rid of your heroes. And, you know, I thought about it throughout the week. I thought about heroes. I think a nice amount. But I didn't remember the wording. I didn't remember get rid of your heroes. So put me in the crowd. Put me in the column of I don't know, people not working on themselves. What a mess. That's not even funny. I was thinking about it though, heroes. And you know, if you want to back up the footage on Sunday when the mic came to me, I said, I don't know how. But you know, I'm not trying to clean up anything. This is not ego at all. I'm not trying to clean anything up or fix anything at all. I said I don't know how because I thought about heroes a bit. I was trying to think about if I have heroes, I guess. Do I have heroes? And I was just trying to consider it. And I thought to myself I didn't, that there's or at least I'm trying not to, that there's people I don't put on a pedestal. But that same week, last week, who was it? It was Joel. Joel was guest hosting for, was it last week? Yeah, it was sometime last week, Wednesday or Thursday, or even Friday maybe, I forget. Joel was guest hosting James' show. And he did a great job. He did a fantastic job. Fantastic. And I remember Jesse went up to, the day went on, and Jesse went up to someone, and they were talking about something. And I was on my computer, and I heard a little something like, that, did you, blah, 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 and I didn't hear that part. He was, blah, 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 amazing. And my mind told me, oh, he's talking about Joel. He's saying he did an amazing job. He's talking about Joel right now. And I'm trying to do my work, right? Maybe you'll find this interesting. We're going to keep going. And my mind tells me, oh, so he's talking about Joel. He's praising Joel right on. Yeah, he did a great job. He did do a great job. Kept at it. And then I hear, what was it? Then I heard Jesse or someone say something further in the conversation, which revealed to me that it had nothing to do with Joel. And at that very moment, I caught a thought that told me, well, it wasn't even a thought. Maybe it was too late. It was this feeling of almost relief. And I'm like, hold up. How do I describe this? It was this thought of like, oh, yeah, he wasn't praising Joel. I'm like, what the heck? Where did that come from? Obviously my mind, but with it came almost like I don't know if I call it relief, but I'm trying to describe to you this this totally evil reaction and judgment that my mind is doing. And it's really doing it constantly. It's doing it a lot of the time. And I'm like, man, I'm not that nice. I'm not this nice guy. I'm not this, that's what you almost even call that jealousy. Would you? But I knew I wasn't. Like, maybe, hopefully you're understanding me somewhat. And I didn't know at the time the assignment, the wording. So this is not me fixing anything. But I remember that moment when Jesse reminded us of the second part. Trust no one. Trust no one. It's true. It's true. You can't, that's why you really can't trust anyone with anger, who believes thoughts, because they'll get a thrill out of your supposed downfall, your supposed... You know what I'm saying here? If you're not even paying attention, I wonder if anyone relates. Maybe I'm just the evil one, the insane one. But you notice that your mind wants to get up on others, and it feels better when it thinks others aren't doing well. Ew, you live in your head, says Zorak90. I ignore anything that doesn't address me directly. Well, right on, Zorak. But anyways. Thoughts on heroes. Because I know I even heard people say, like, well, I don't have any heroes. I don't have any heroes. And they may be absolutely correct about themselves. But I want to say that about myself. But if I have an opinion about anyone, good or bad, I'm doing this strange thing where I'm putting someone somewhere else other than my level, other than just this equal level, this equal footing, because we're people. And in that, it creates a schism. It creates a difference, something to compare, something to judge. And that's how judgmental people are. So you can't trust them. Sorry. I'm sorry. So, yeah. I'm just telling you what I'm thinking here, okay? So, on heroes, what else? Putting anyone, just putting anyone on any different level. Really putting your eyes on anyone but yourself, I guess. I've learned not to like that feeling. So at least people understand me a little bit. No shade. Maybe you misunderstood me, Terry. What's your shirt say? It says Elder, Peterson, West, Swain, and Kane. You might know those. You might know those names. Gotta separate from it. Absolutely. I mean, that's kind of another reason why I'm bringing this up too, is the importance of that separation. Because then you go around, because now I go around saying, let me be clear here. Because I started off kind of saying, oh, I'm so judgmental. But now I say that with some awareness. I'm just using that to communicate. Okay, my bad, Terry. You see what I'm saying? See, look. I'm falling for the trolls. I'm falling for the chat. I appreciate y'all being here, though. That was a nice church anyways, right? What else did I want to say about this? I don't quite remember. But we'll move on. So I was getting ready for my show a little bit. Getting ready for the dentist. Getting ready for my show. And I was perusing the different news aggregates and all that. And I open up the skim. You know, I like to open up the skim. Thanks to the Hake report, he's shown me the ladies at the skim who seem to have their just pulses on the news of America. Some hard-hitting stuff. I open up the skim, and at the top of their website, it says, reveal... it's not quite here anymore, but I still saved the website they linked to, and it said something like, we are releasing something to help you, like, get your life together. Okay, helping solve your life's biggest life decisions. And I click on it, and it takes me to beta.the-skim. Got to speak slower. This lidocaine. Beta.the-skim. .com. And it takes me to a little website. Okay, I'm going to show you here. About getting your life together. Is your life together? Answer your questions with action. With action. 𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒐𝒏.theskim.com. Now, I gather from the way Hake has talked about it, the way when you peruse the website, it's a website for women, right? Do they make that clear? Your go-to, I mean, they just say it's the Skim, your go-to for the info and tools you need to live. But this is it feels very female. The whole website, the way they write things, and even this new tool they released here to get your life together. Answer your questions with action. Welcome to your how-to guide on life's biggest challenges. Finally, from the questions keeping you up at night to things you can't seem to get done. Find easy-to-follow action plans, build confidence, and watch your little wins become big sighs of relief. Well, that's nice, ladies at the Skim. That's nice. Yeah, and I'm sure that's that philosophy. Little wins. Win at the small things so you can win at the big things. That's a fine strategy for growth. No? How-to guide on bike. I'm sure that a lot of people maybe really enjoyed this too. Makes me think of what Sean was saying on the Hake Report, guest hosted by Joel. He was saying something so fascinating about Dobermans, the female Doberman. You hear this? The female Doberman will pretend to be obedient. But anyways, what he said about the animal nature and how it loves instruction. It craves it. It craves instruction. An action plan. Thank you, finally. I needed an easy-to-follow action plan because my life's a mess. Build confidence. So thank you, ladies at the Skim. And you scroll down, you start getting your first taste of your guides here. Pick a daycare. Number 1. Oh, okay. Picking a daycare. I'm sure there's maybe even some women in my chat. Probably. Rolling their eyes. They're like, what? Pick a daycare. What is this? There's probably even some women in my chat saying, this is clearly as someone who does not care about the order. Daycare? What do you have? You don't have any time? Huh? You don't have time for your own children? You need a guide. It's getting difficult. It's getting difficult throwing your kid this way, throwing your kid that way. What do I do? And you open up the daycare guide. And, it has some fine questions. What you should ask your daycare, what you want in a daycare, I guess. But I guess it just assumes this, what's it called? The premise. They've already agreed on this premise that, well, you need daycare, right? You need daycare because there's no one at home with the kids. And that is an okay situation. Okay, ladies at the Skim. We already know this about you, so we shouldn't be surprised. But this is just a little guide. Declutter your home, update your resume, refinance your student loans, pay off your student loans. Sounds like a lot of women may be stuck, maybe not stuck, but they seem to have all followed a similar path, right? I don't know, a lot of men have too, but there's a lot of women in college and all that, and they're just coming out of the conveyor belt, and they need the Skim guide, especially this part, to refinance your loans. And, they got some upcoming stuff they haven't released yet. Tackle your to-do list, live more green, retire richer. I mean, those are, end that relationship. Yes, girl, end that relationship, which is probably not a bad thing. I mean, a lot of people are just in hell, right? Justifying the hell they're in, calling it a relationship and all that. I just get maybe I'm judging, right? I should wait for spring 2024, huh? But I get the feeling that end that relationship coupled with pick a daycare, coupled with, setting boundaries at work. It just sounds like more of this feminism where it's really not your fault. They're toxic at work. That relationship is toxic. It's not your fault. But I should wait. But I'm being toxic. I'm judging. I should wait till spring 2024 when they release this. Why, Nick, why are you even mentioning this? Why do you care about the Skims guide here? It's not even that bad, okay? Retire richer, what's so bad about that? Tackle your to-do list. A lot of messy men not tackling their to-do list. They might need this. You judgmental Nick? Okay, voice in my head, apparition. Let me respond. Never speak to the devil, but I'm doing a show right now, so I hope you enjoy this. The reason I'm bringing this up because I was there was someone calling my show recently a couple times, and they were going through, shall we call it, stages of life. Some stages they had not dealt with, getting a job, living alone, and different things. And we all wish him well. He called me back. He ended up finding some work with an uncle, and he was doing well there, and that's nice. It's a start and all that. And I was wondering a little bit, I was just looking over the Skim guide here. Let me collect what I want to say here. I just noticed that there's a lot of help, a lot of methods and mental health help and guides, and you got to do this. And it feels very feminine. And I'm not saying they don't have their place or they don't work. But I was thinking about Frank while going through this guide here. And I was thinking about my life. And although I may be this anchor baby with thoughts, and that's a mess, and I need to be working on my life, but even through all that, even through the strange upbringing, moving around, and this is I say this part not as a feel bad for Nick, but never knowing my dad, right? I don't even like mentioning that. Like, that's not even a big deal to me, especially at this point. Because I don't want people thinking that's even an important thing to focus on. Look, I'm trying to say that even throughout all that, I'm thinking about Frank, I'm thinking about this guide, and I'm thinking about how I went through life, I guess. And I didn't really do the guide steps, but there's a lot I learned, okay? There's a lot I learned by just going and doing, and there's something so perfect about that. There's something really perfect about that perfect blueprint within that especially men can use to just tackle on life. And it's not, and the thing about tackling on life, I think when you read a guide like this, you think, right, I'm going to tackle on life, and it's going to be so tulips. It's going to be great. It's just going to be fantastic. It's just going to be awesome. But it's not, especially if you're, I don't know. I don't want to say, especially if you're a guy or whatever. It's just going to be, it's just not. I want to say not especially if you're a guy, especially if you're someone who hasn't worked on themselves. Let's be real. Especially if you've let things go for a while. It's going to be, you're going to go through some pain. If you've lived at home. You know, there's other people in different situations, so I'm not just talking about one person here. So once you start going through that, it's going to be painful through life, okay? But there's something so perfect about that. And what was I saying about that? I was trying to make this point that I guess you read this guy, you think, oh, it's going to be hunky-dory, but it's not. And that's okay, though. That's actually awesome. And you should be, like, totally fine with that. And just be ready for anything. Be ready to live in a not-so-nice place. Be with roommates and follow rules that you're like, well, I got to live with someone because I don't make enough money to, but I need to go live on my own, even though because I'm at home with mom and all that. So I got to start step one, get a minimum wage job. You got to do something, right? And it's going to suck, but it's not going to suck that bad, really. It's just going to suck sometimes. And you're going to be like, oh, and it'll be up and down. And then you'll even have a maturity over that. You'll realize the up and down is its own lie, but I guess that's a different conversation. I'm trying to speak to my people who are stuck and they want a guide. But I think number one is calm down. I mentioned this recently. You got to calm down, okay? Calm down, number one. I got to LA 2019. I started working minimum wage. And to be fair, let me be totally clear on what I went through, so that I'm not, so I just be clear so that, because people want to think, okay, well, you just can't do it with this or that. Okay, so let me just tell you what I went through. I started minimum wage, but quite quickly. I'd say within 3 months, my wages went up a nice amount. But that's due to all the experience I had over the years in the restaurant industry, cooking, just being a cook. Okay, and I didn't go to school. I didn't do anything. I just was cooking for a lot of years. That showed, and they bumped my pay up pretty quickly, and I was happy. But for the first bit, even after the first raise, I really wasn't making much more than minimum wage. And I went on roommates.com and apartments.com, just telling you exactly what I did. And I just started searching. I went, I pressed price, I came to, I bought a ticket. I didn't have much money either in Canada. I bought a ticket. It's all in Canadian dollars, so I couldn't even use much of it until I started transferring it. I bought a ticket, got to LA. Other things happened, but I had a family friend for a bit there, but that was very, very short-lived. I found a place, apartments.com, found a roommate. I sorted it. I put prices low to high, and I started going one by one, I had some standards. There are places I didn't even bother looking. So that's what I did, okay? I started paying like $500 to $600. I forget. It was like $550 if I remember. Bucks to this guy who was trying to be an actor, nice guy, who got really mad at me one time because I left out my Trump hat, and he lost it. It was amazing. I was in shock. I was like, he's like, if you don't put that away in the closet, I don't want you living here anymore. And so I put it away. You might think, oh, beta. He was the lease owner. He was the name on the lease. I was some guy he met on apartments.com. And so we just figured out like an agreement. And it worked for me. Worked for me in that moment. It was what I worked out, is what I had to do. And I wasn't about to mess it up. There were things more important, priorities. And I told him, really, man? I pushed it a little bit, but I saw he was mixed, okay? So he had light skin overcompensation problem. I'm stealing that from Tommy Sotomayor, where the light skins overcompensate their I don't know, blackness. I'm black. I care. So anyways, hopefully you find this interesting. And I worked it out, okay? I worked it out. And there's people who call me and they didn't even know. They're looking at their bottom is a 2-bedroom apartment. And they're like, Nick, it's $1,500. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Can you stop? Have you considered? If you didn't even stop to consider, maybe I should get a roach place. Maybe I should get a place that has a little roaches. Then you don't really wanna. You don't really wanna get out there and do your thing, right? And I'm telling you this as someone who's made a lot of mistakes. I'm sounding like I'm laughing because I almost remember a story Jesse said. It sounded kind of like that. But I'm telling you the truth. Look, a lot of mistakes. Still at them. But I'm totally fine. Like, no, I'm fine, really. And you can too. You can too. All right, callers and people. What are y'all saying in the chat? Was this in the 90s? No, this is the price, $550 for a roommate, Hillary. There are people calling me saying, I can't find a place. It's $1,500 for a 1-bedroom. Did you even consider roommates? You gotta make it happen. You gotta make it happen. There's a way. So I guess I was just wanted to say all that to be practical in a sense and maybe help someone in that way. Yeah, because you don't need a guide. You got it in you. I'm telling you. Okay. 888-775-3773. I had a call or two on Friday. We had a nice call with Be Fit to Be Fit. Is he in the chat? we had a nice call there about a number of things. And a little bit about people getting, you ever hear about these predator catchers? These people who catch predators, PDF files. I say rape on my show. Pedophiles. Sorry, YouTube. I'm coming in strong. Free man talking. But if you don't want me to say that, email me and I'll stop right away. We were talking about these pedophiles, these people who go online and they catch these people and they're like, you thought you were talking to a 14-year-old girl, huh? Guess what? It was me. And they catch him and they bring the cops and it's a mess. And I had a caller call in who he brought some brought some information. You wanted to clear some things up because I may have spoken out of assumption. I was wondering, these guys online though, they're not talking to a 14-year-old. They're talking to these predator catchers. I wonder if these predator catchers egg them on, and if otherwise they would never have gone so far if it wasn't for someone so willing on the other side. But, someone called in and they're like, hey, you don't know what you're talking about, Nick. These predator catchers never, ever, ever, ever egg them on. And I'm like, okay, I don't know how you know that, but he apparently worked with people like that. And I may have been making an assumption there, but we had such an interesting conversation about how someone gets to that point and becomes someone who wants to hurt children. And the conversation, if you remember, you could back it up on Friday, check it out with CJ there. And he was saying, essentially that these people are a step above in a sense. That there was eventually there was I think someone understanding. I can't quite remember the whole conversation. So forgive me, CJ, if I'm putting words in your mouth. I'm not trying to. But he was essentially putting this crime as something quite worse, as another level, way more evil than evil. And it's really not. It's really all the same. And I was making this point on how there's a thread. There's a thread all the way from this little kid, this little fibber. Imagine a little fibber who gets mad or something. And you're like, he's a little fibber, but he's a kid. And I was asking him, don't you see the thread, the line all the way from that kid to the pedophile that he becomes? Because that's the story of anyone who doesn't do the work. And they might not necessarily turn out to be a pedophile person, but that is the path that all people who don't work on themselves on. What I mean by that is, you know how you give in? You know how you're always giving in? You know what I'm saying? And you're like, that's just easier. Yeah, it's just easier to get mad. It's easier to just blame. It's easier to, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. Smoke pot and call it, hey, it's not that bad. Even though that's not the problem. Don't get lost with what I'm saying, with my examples here. Don't get confused. My apologies. You see what I'm saying here? Anyone that gives in like that and doesn't work on that, you get to that. That's the you see, anybody see that line? Anybody see that? I want to get into that about my caller there. Maybe I'll remember more from Friday, but right now I have a caller. 888-775-3773. I got Space Cadet out of Maryland. How you doing, Space Cadet? You're on the air.
Hey, Nick. How you doing, buddy?
All is well, sir.
Okay.
How you been?
Are you speaking?
I said, how you been?
Oh, I've been well. How about yourself?
Thank you. All is well. All is well. Go ahead.
Yeah. My initial comment was I'm in love with a coworker, but I wanted to mention I'm getting to the point now. I already had 2 daughters. Did the deal for 20 years with a woman that spaced out on me, but and my daughters aren't producing any grandchildren. I think I'm going to have to make my own grandchildren, Nick.
And you said you want to make your own grandchildren with this new woman?
They're not making me children, sir.
You want your daughters to make you kids? Well,
yeah, I want grandkids. What the hell? I got 2 daughters. What the hell?
Have you ever? I'm sorry to laugh. It's kind of humorous, but have you said this? Have you ever said to them, "You should make me grandkids"?
Yeah, all the fucking time.
Hey,
sir.
don't swear. Come on.
Okay, sorry.
And what do they say? What do they say? What do they say?
Expensive.
Really?
In this world, Dad, you complain about the world all the time, Dad.
Ooh.
You know, why would I want to bring kids in this world? Blah, blah, you know.
And what do you say when they say...
I say I will help. I will help you, but they're not there yet. Their mother, I think, influenced them. But, you know.
In what way do you think?
She couldn't wait for them to grow up in that way, sir. Do you understand that?
I think, when you say in that way, you mean, I'm not entirely sure.
She did not enjoy the childrenhood.
I see.
I enjoyed every minute of it, and she didn't see it that way. She saw it as a chore, a burden.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
I do. And that you think had a lasting effect? You think they have a distaste of children maybe, or that whole game? Because seeing their mother go...
On me, sir. I married a little bit badly, but, you know, she would tell them...
Yeah, a lot of men... Yeah, that happens a lot.
Behind my back, sir. But
this is quite fascinating, actually, though, on many levels. The fact that they said it's too expensive, that is so interesting. They were also saying, what do you say? What do you say when they say, Dad, you say that you're always saying the world's so messed up. Why would I want to bring kids into this world? What do you say when they say that?
I'll help you.
Right on. That makes sense. That's so fascinating, man. So you were saying you want them to make you grandkids? What do you mean make you grandkids?
No, I said I'm going to have to make my own grandkids. It appears, and I'm infatuated with a woman at work.
But that won't make grandkids.
But he cut.
That'll just make more kids. That won't. Wait, you understand that if you have sex with this woman and make kids with your coworker, you're just going to make more kids, not grandkids.
I call them grandkids because I'm an old man, sir.
I don't know if that's how that works. I don't think that's how that works. Grandbaby kids. That's funny, man.
I want a son.
Listen, Space Cadet.
Hey, this one could make me a fertile son, sir.
You think so? What if you make another daughter?
I'm evil.
What if you make another daughter, though?
Say it again.
What if you make another daughter?
Oh, well, that'll be because I didn't get her at the right time. I have a theory about this. You want to hear more?
Okay, sure. Try and keep it clean, but sure. You got a theory? Lay it on us.
Yes, a woman has one time a month where she is fertile, where you may actually impregnate her. Mm-hmm. Is that clean?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. But if you don't catch her in that early moment before her acids build up, where her female juices have an acid that actually kills male sperm, sir.
Wow.
And you have to be the man, grab her by the hair and make it happen. And before her male sperm killers get you. That's my theory.
Fascinating theory. I can't say it. It's definitely in a different territory. I'll say this for those that are wondering. I'm sorry I can't tell you the full answer, but I will give you a hint. It is a different subject matter than the JLP's secret to make boys, but fascinating stuff.
Oh yeah. Being alpha, alphas.
Oh, well, that's just. You don't even need a secret. Right. You don't need a secret if you're an alpha. You don't need a secret. You don't need to play around with secrets if you're an actual man. So maybe maybe we should focus on that.
Yeah. I was a pussy. I let her.
Hey, don't do it. Be clean. Come on. We're having a good call.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was.
Not the P word. Space Cadet, can I ask you one last thing here? Because I find something else interesting about this.
Okay.
You were saying make you grandkids. What do you mean make you some grandkids?
I'm going to have to make my own son, sir.
But you're making it sound like I don't know. It's just that doesn't make sense, right?
My children, my daughters haven't given me any grandchildren.
But why should they? Is what I'm asking.
I'm going to have to make my own son, sir. That's exactly what I said.
But why should they have to? They're not your grandkids. They would be their kids. You know what I'm saying?
No, I like one.
What'd you say, Space Cadet?
No, I don't have any grandkids. I already said that to you. They're not trying to make me any children.
That's what I'm trying to point out. It doesn't sound right to say your grandkids because this
going to be mine.
This possessive language may be part of maybe speaks to your mentality, which may be part of why you're even getting any pain or
well, that's why I'm going to make
care
my
about
own,
this.
sir.
In
How
fact,
about that?
you care so much. You care so much about this that you're willing to go off and impregnate a coworker and possibly bring yourself more mess.
I want a white nation, sir. How's that?
But you might. But do you see that?
Now.
Do you see that you might be? Do you see that you might be adding more mess and chaos and complication into your life that you may not be ready for or need? Out of this desire of wanting grandkids.
With that. Sure, I can, Nick.
Yeah, so
I can see that. Sure.
Exactly.
But
so be careful with this.
I have this inside of me, sir.
But I think that's what's causing it. This desire of this grandkids, which is strange. Think about it. They're not your grandkids. That's even a strange thing to say in the first place.
Absolutely my grandkids. What the fuck are you talking about? I don't understand. I gotta go.
All right, man.
Go.
It's hard to, you keep swearing and all that. We cleaned the slate, Space Cadet and I. I told him, well, no problem, man. We'll just, I don't even remember. You can call my show, no problem. But, yeah. The sun is up. People, I had someone message me too. Hey, Nick, I love your noon show, Monday through Thursday, American Anchor Baby show. But, I listen with my kids. And sometimes there's a little bit of swearing. Not from me. But we're going to try our best to keep it clean. 888-775-3773. I see calls coming in. Thank you for that. But hopefully that was interesting. I was trying to get more information, too. I didn't want to just be like, this is what you do. I mean, I was trying to understand. What do you guys think about that? Was I catching on to something there? I was like, my grandkids. And I realized, wait a second. What do you mean, my grandkids? I don't know if I've ever thought about that before. Well, yeah, my grandkids. Even my kids probably is a source of pain and confusion for parents, even with children that they, like their own kids. But that whole thing where you say, my kids, they're my children. That's probably a source of a lot of tension, a lot of pain. You know what I'm saying? Careful with that. And did you guys catch that too? If it sounded like to me, and I could be wrong here, it sounded like this desire of grandchildren and my grandkids and all that went so far as to where you're gonna maybe get yourself into some more trouble. A coworker, just impregnate a coworker for what? What are you gonna get out of it? What's the point at this point? You had your kids. I like what he was saying though. He's like, when his kids were telling him, Dad, it's too expensive, or the world is too crazy. His answer is, I'll help you. No, it's not. I'll calm down. I'll help you. Meanwhile, the mother's response, at least according to Space Cadet, right? You heard the call. It was an interesting reaction from the mother. Anyways, Nit all analyzing the call. Maybe. Okay, Vicky. I got Vicky out of Texas. Appreciate your call. You're on the air.
Hi, Nick. How are you doing?
All is well. What's up, Vicky?
Hey, it's been a while.
Yeah.
I've been working out here on the ranch, fixing some fences today. So I came in and I saw you.
Thank you.
On air. I get to fly an airplane tomorrow. Yoo-hoo!
Oh, right on. You flying tomorrow? Wait.
Yeah.
Do you know what kind of plane you're flying?
No, actually, we dropped our boss off in Dallas, so he picked up his new plane.
Message me what kind of plane it is, and I'll let you know if you should get on. No, that's a joke. That's a joke. You'll be okay.
Yeah, so we get to fly over there. He's going to fly us over the ranch, and he's going to let my husband and I take the wheel for a little bit.
Oh, it's
so
like
I'm
that.
excited. Yeah, like
Very cool.
that. So I'm going to take a video. I'll send it to Sean.
Please do. Thank you. See, I thought it was a commercial. My bad. I should be listening. I thought it was a commercial flight. I thought you were about to get onto the Boeing 747
no,
Max.
I'm not about to do that. No. He's not with all the problems going on. No, not at all.
My bad.
No,
Cool
his
see.
own private. But on Friday on your show, I'm going to have Drew, who's a colonel. He was a colonel in the Air Force. That's my boss, and it's he's going to explain to you that there is no flat Earth.
Ooh, spicy.
Yeah.
You're going to want to tune in.
Friday.
Very nice. Thank you.
Yeah, he's going to do that. So I thought I'd give you a heads up.
That would be awesome.
But anyway,
Thank
I wanted, yeah.
You hear that, flat earthers in the chat?
Yeah, you better be ready. Yeah, so
he might be able to explain a couple of things. That's great. Thank you.
Well, I won't be able to do it, but he will, believe me, because I was kind of, I've always been, it's not flat at all. I mean, I just thought, no, it just possibly cannot be. But then everybody had, other people had great argument, and I'm just like, so I asked Drew, but I could not explain it, but he can, and he will.
Beautiful. That should be exciting. That'd be great.
So I'll call in on Friday, and you can talk to the colonel himself.
Great. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. I just wanted to call in and say, hey, it's been a minute.
No problem, Vicky. Well, thank you for that, and call me again.
Yeah, I will. Take care. Have a great one.
Bye now. Very nice. 888-775-3773. If you want to jump on there. I see your calls. A little patience, please, as we get situated here with the super chats and more stories and all that. It's all female. If it feels, it's female. Thank you, Birdie Bound Brian, with the super chat there. Appreciate that. If it feels, it's female. Uh-oh. Sorry, I was just doing a little self-examining there. buymeacoffee.com/anchor, baby. I see y'all over there on Rumble. I'm just tuning in now. What's up, Rumble? Thank you. I see y'all. Rumble.com/American Anchor, baby. And I see y'all D-Live, okay? I'm sorry. I'm just jumping in now. What a mess. Thank you for that. GG Cash, GMD Jim. Thank you for that. Okay, let's see what else. Renesio. I think I may have missed this coffee. May have been from earlier, maybe from Friday, but Renesio with the coffee says, Nick, the yo-yo was a comedic reference to Rome 13. She cracks me up. Nonetheless, I still think it's a yo-yo. He's talking about love and broken hearts. You think that's related to boomerangs, Renesio? Right on. Thank you for that. Buymeacoffee.com/anchor, baby. And what are y'all saying in the chat? Let me catch up with the chat before we move on, because I wanted to get into what else. My call with CJ. I mean, I kind of already said what I wanted to say about that. And there's some interesting things going on with cereal. You guys know I love cereal. Late night cereal. LNC, as we call it, for those in the know. For those OG watchers of Nick's stream and beyond. You know, LNC is a special thing that we share between us, the viewers and I. It's something I used to share with he's my brother. I call him, he's my cousin, he's my brother. We grew up together. LNC was where we shared some important moments, some pivotal moments in our lives. Late night over a bowl of cereal. Okay? It's a special moment we share with my viewers. And yeah, we'll get into that. Cereal. I'm teasing it too much. We'll get to that. Let me see what else is going on here. Okay, the caller's trying to reach Jesse. No problem. 888-775-3773. if you want to jump on there. But CJ, yeah. What else did I want to say about my call with CJ? So I was mentioning it earlier. He had called my show Friday, and we were talking about these people, the predator guys. And let me see if I can even bring up that clip I had from before. Predators. We got predators. And they're catching them online. Let me see if I can find it. Child predators. They're everywhere. They're in Hollywood. They say they're in Hollywood. They say they're in... I'm joking. So check it out. Do you remember this video? I played this not that long ago.
Area, and I can...
Whoa. Let's turn that down. Catching predators.
I don't understand how, as a father, you are comfortable with sexualizing your own daughter, some random pedophile online. I'm going to tell you, man, I'm not from anywhere near this area, and I came all the way here to talk to you about this. So the least you can do is just be honest with me, okay? I know there's nudes of your daughter on your phone.
There's not.
Yes, there is. We were able to see every single one of your photos already.
Well, I have a problem then, because that phone is at my store.
Okay, so that has nudes of your daughter?
It has a couple, yes.
Okay.
And I will delete those.
Remember this? Okay, I know I played this already a while ago, but the call with CJ came up. And so they're catching the predator. We know you have pictures of your daughter on your phone. Describe them. Describe them to me in detail. We know what you did.
When did you take those nudes of your daughter?
A while ago.
What was she doing in those pics?
And the way they cut this video looks fake, so I really don't know about this, okay? So, folks, take everything with a grain of salt. But you've seen this content, and a lot of it's out there.
Just like this.
Okay, were you able to see her private parts?
Just her top.
What about her butt?
Yes, I have some of her butt and underwear.
Okay, were those meant to be for sexual harassment?
Like, what more do you want, man? If you're the guy, you caught him, right? He got the pictures. You got him. You already got him. And what? Was it at the butt? And how was she standing? Was she standing? Was she bending over? What was she doing? Describe it. Describe it, you sick person. And you're a dad, too. You're a father, too. How could you? And what was she doing? Look, maybe I'm off base here. 888-775-3773. But, with my caller, I'm just trying to point out the hard to miss evil part, okay? Because it's obviously evil to do this pedophile stuff and child predator stuff and put nasty pictures on your phone. You don't need me to tell you that's evil. You don't need me to tell you that's nasty. But I really don't think people really have any idea why this is really happening. And you got to start understanding this side to start getting there. Because I'm not telling you I understand, but I'll tell you this. The people who are out here on a crusade saying this pedophile stuff is actually a worse evil and an evil on another level, those people have, I'm now certain. I'm now more certain than ever. Those people they're out of their depth. They're out of their depth. They have no clue what they're dealing with. They have no clue what they're dealing with and are actually exacerbating the problem. They're actually adding to the problem. The people who, and who am I talking about specifically again, if you're lost? The people who think that pedophilia, for example, is a worse evil than, I don't know, some other kind of evil. For example, anger. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, but do you see this a little bit? Let me get into it. Allow me to get into it. I have no notes, but I think I like doing my show better this way. It's gross, right? Don't you see the in between the lines here? But maybe you don't see it quite yet.
What's going to happen now, okay? And I'm prepared to go to her school and go talk to her right now. I'm prepared to go ask her everything.
Please don't.
Okay, I want to hear it from you. Was it maybe just over the clothes, rubbing of the vagina?
It was over the clothes.
You rubbed her vagina over the...
Okay, yeah, you guys get it. What else was it? What else did I want to point out? Because maybe you don't quite see what I'm seeing in this video, but that's not even that big of a deal. That's not even that important. Because I'm just showing you that video because I showed it recently to kind of flesh out this segment here a little bit, okay? But it's not even that important that you even see that video, okay? The point is in that judgment, in seeing that as a worse evil. I already said this, so I'm just repeating myself at this point, but there is a thread. Do you see the thread between the frustrated, young frustrated boy and the I don't know, the pedophile, pervert kind of person that they become later. And my caller on Friday was saying that there's just it's a mystery. It's an absolute mystery how that happens. And we don't understand it, how you get to become so strange and messed up and evil. And if you say something like that, I'd say, personally speaking, you have no clue. You don't really know how to deal with this situation. And I would personally say, stay out of it. You're actually adding to the fire. You're not helping. Anyways, what was I saying? That's what I had to say about that. Okay? Yeah. What else? You know what I'm saying? Tell the kids to cover their ears because Space Cadet is on the line. I see you saying that in my chat, Space Cadet, but come on, man. You gotta play ball, can you follow, Space Cadet? Can you follow the rules that all my other callers follow? If so, you're more than welcome to call my show. Thank you. I got Brian out of North Carolina. Thank you for your call, sir. You're on the air.
What's going on, Nick? How you doing?
All is well. No complaints here.
How's the mouth feeling?
You know what? I'm feeling my tongue a little bit more. You know what? I must have not even noticed the lidocaine is already leaving my body.
Right on. That's got to be that's the goodness. Doesn't it feel weird when you got the numbness of the mouth?
It's strange. I didn't know how hard I was biting my tongue, and they were telling me I could really hurt myself. Now I'm starting to feel like some pretty some nasty soreness. Actually, they were telling me my gums will be sore, but it's starting to come in.
Right on, man. Yeah, that was. I had the same issue when I would get come down off numbing.
Mm-hmm.
I was like hurting myself. I actually punctured my eardrum one time because my ear was itching, and I was going in my ear harder than I realized I was.
That's scary. You hear about people who have who are born with it's rare disease or something, and they're born with no pain receptors, and you think that's awesome. That's probably amazing. That's actually terrifying.
What?
You hear about that? There's people who are born. It's very rare that you have no pain receptors or something like that. You can't feel pain.
No way. I'd never heard nothing
There's
like
people
that.
There's people who, due to some issue, it's very rare, but you don't feel pain. And you might think that's like a superpower. That's awesome. That's actually kind of scary. You could be like at a gym you could be at the gym like doing I don't know, bench press and actually hurting yourself, like ripping yourself up in a way that you shouldn't be.
You know what's crazy? It wouldn't even matter even if they didn't have, like, let's say they didn't, like you said, a person can't feel pain. They don't have the receptors for it. I wonder if they still have the same shock and react when they realize that they are hurt.
I wonder too. I was reading about stuff like that, and I mean the shock is the same for example when they look. For example, I was reading about people who've been injured like this at work, and they'll notice later that they're bleeding profusely, and they won't until later they realize, they feel like wetness, and they're like, why am I wet? And then they get that shock. They get that shock when they see an open wound, but I don't know about anything else.
That's pretty. I've seen that happen firsthand before, where somebody got hurt like really gruesomely.
Yeah,
and they didn't notice it immediately. It was my brother. Actually. My grandfather dropped a chainsaw. He was below him. My grandfather dropped the chainsaw, and it went straight down in his forearm, in between his bones.
Whoa!
And he didn't realize it. He thought it just nicked his finger. So he saw his finger, and he was like, "Oh, okay." He just like nicked, and he like put his hand back down and went back to work. And like you just said, he felt the blood dripping down to his finger, and he turned his arm over. And he just started
there's arm
hollering.
missing.
No. It hit, this chainsaw just dug into his arm a good 3 inches.
Yeah, exactly what I mean. There's chunk missing. There's some arm gone.
Oh, it was just white. It really was just white.
Ooh, sorry, man. I mean, I'm thinking of a similar story. I had a similar. I knew someone, and that happened similarly. But that was a roommate, and she was a crackhead, and we wish her well. Now, you guys don't know who I'm talking about, but she
Right
came to say hi to her new roommates, and she was bleeding out of her foot, like a lot. And we were like, "Hey, do you know what's going on to your foot?" And she freaked out. She's like, "I didn't know that," and I knew something was off. But that's neither here nor there. That's a different story for another time.
Right on. Yeah.
Shout out to the people who think they can't, who need to leave mama's home. You might have to live with a crackhead, but it's okay. You'll learn and live. Don't worry, it'll be okay.
Hey, most people do live with a crackhead. They might not be on crack, but they act like
she was the nicest person ever. No, she was an absolute sweetheart. She was just
really.
She was an absolute sweetheart.
She just steal from.
She was just strange. She never stole from me. She just spoke funny, and it was clear it was just quite strange. But
wow,
she was a total sweetheart. Anyways,
you were
saying, go ahead. What'd you call it about? My bad.
I know, right? We just totally got off the tracks there, but you were showing the 𝒏𝒊𝒄𝒌𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒄𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔 guys.
Yeah.
And, I think a guy was CJ that called in that was speaking about one that he was like personally supporting and stuff.
Right.
I don't know if it was him, but
it was.
I gotta tell you, Nick, I did my dive in that area of content pretty thoroughly. I must admit I found myself entertained by it at some point. And but I can tell you, man, not every last one of those guys are evil. And
you heard it here.
Doing any
strong statements. I love it. Go ahead.
They're not doing anything good whatsoever, And it's so now that I see these videos, like the one you just showed was just blatant, That guy is just like blatantly, it's out there. But there are some that, have kind of prettied it up, so to speak, and have taken this position of, or attempt to take this position of, we're here to help. And it's just they can't hide the fact that they're not throughout all their content. It's just evident with the things that they say and the things that they do inside of the content. Even the fact that you're just there recording it. You're there recording it. You're not being of any help to anyone, just simply off that alone.
Fascinating, man. Do you think it was ever okay? Like, for example, like Chris Hansen, because then wasn't it kind of? Do you think Chris Hansen started it? Do you think it was there anything like that happening before? Do you remember Chris Hansen? Yeah, am I thinking of the right guy?
He was the beginning of my dive. I will say he did it the best.
He's the absolute OG.
If anybody like prettied it up, it was Chris Hansen. If anybody could have prettied it up the most, it was Chris Hansen.
That's so interesting. Now, can you expand a little bit? What do you mean by prettied it up? I think I know what you mean. Just to make it something that the audience could identify with, which is why you see what you see today. You people that want to go against something and see that they have the means to do it, because all you need is a camera, a couple guys, and you set up fake accounts, and then blah 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 blah. You record it. Anybody could do that. You're so right, man.
And that's what it is, man.
No, there's a whole genre. It's a whole genre. TLC. It's a whole genre of TV, and you see these TLC shows that do a similar thing. They've lifted from that same formula of these like 100%. Hoarders and all that crap. They lifted from that same and that same manja formula. Like, look at this crazy thing, and people are like the what's it called? Like the onlooker syndrome. Like, ooh, that's disgusting and crazy. I can't look away.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's but it hits everybody. It doesn't just hit those people. It hits everybody, because it just creates another avenue for you to judge other people.
Right.
And the way you do it is by thinking that you can do something about it.
Interesting. Yeah, man. Yeah, I think that's what a lot of people think they're doing, because even my caller was saying these kids are being saved. They're being saved, right? And I was just wondering about that. And, yeah, I'm sure there is a you put a stop to that individual's crimes, I'm sure. And possible future crimes. But I don't know about saving.
They're not saving them, because saving you can't. They're trying to ride this line of saving as if it's something that you can stay on and you just do. You can you can foresee it, and you could have prevented this and all that. No, saving happens. That's stuff that happens in the moment. Children are saved, probably a lot more than people think, but you know, that's something that happens in the moment. That's not something that you can try to stand on and say that you're trying to, like, this is your goal to do.
Very interesting. Thank you for that. Well, sir, anything else?
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, I wanted to comment on LNC.
We love LNC.
LNC, and you mentioned how you and your cousin, well, your brother, really.
Yes.
How you and your brother used to have some pretty deep conversations over LNC at LNC.
Over those Fruity Pebbles, man, the things they heard.
The things they heard.
The things those Fruity Pebbles heard before we devoured them.
Yeah. You know, I did the same thing, man. I had brothers growing up, and I can recall some really good conversations happening at an hour we weren't supposed to be up eating cereal. And you know what stands out to me when I reflect on it is the crunch of the cereal at a time where you're not supposed to be like making noise. And I wonder if, you know, that kind of like led to some inner looking, if that helped out a little bit, you know.
I'll tell you this. I mean, I was never more aware of my surroundings than at LNC. I'm telling you, I became so good. I'm such a ninja. If people are sleeping, I know how to. I don't understand. I'm with, and my cousin never was, and I never could understand it. I'd look at him like, how do you not? Because, for example, he'd put down, he'd have the bowl and he'd put it down on the counter and be like, "Bow." I mean, like, don't you understand? It's like you put the tip down and then you slowly put the rest. And, it's not that difficult. The drawers, he's like slamming them. I'm like, you just slow. Like, I'm such a ninja. And I don't understand how anybody else is not a ninja. But anyways.
They're not aware, man.
That's funny stuff, man. Right on, sir.
Yeah,
well, appreciate it.
Though, Nick.
Call me again, sir.
Right on, man. Thank you.
LNC. You gotta love LNC. I just never, and I'm looking at him. Like, he's like, oh, you know, like, oh yeah, sorry, Nikki. Dude, I just told you. I don't understand this. And people are probably laughing too, because they're like, Nick, you're the most heaviest handed person I know. Yeah, but you don't understand. When I have a purpose, when I have a purpose driven life, when I have a purpose, I shall execute. And at that moment, LNC, acquiring the late night cereal without waking anybody up, that was a mission that I was going to achieve. And there was nothing that was going to stop me. Okay? Plus, I'm not that heavy-handed anymore. Okay, voice in my head. Let's move on. 888-775-3773. Cereal. Speaking of cereal. As much as we love LNC, as much as we love late night cereal, I forgot to ask Brian if give me some of his top cereals. Post your top cereals in the chat. Top cereals in the chat, folks. Top cereals in the chat. Go ahead right now. While you're doing that, while we're doing that, I'm talking about cereal. And as much as we love some milk, cold milk in a bowl of nice cereal, we also like that we get to enjoy beef and chicken and protein and just potatoes and great full meals, nutritious full meals in this country, right? We love that. We appreciate that. Even though there's inflation, even though gas prices, even though it's like, well, it's not the same America, we still kind of live it up pretty nicely. It reminds me that Tucker Carlson went over to Russia, remember? And he went into a Russian grocery store and was pointing out a number of things on Russian life and economics. But also, something he didn't mention that others criticized him for, and I think was an interesting, fair criticism, was that he didn't mention that Russians don't make as much money and their quality of life is still not up to snuff like America, okay? In America, you don't go hungry. You're a homeless person in California, you're living it up. You got nice real estate, you got food, you got pot. You can get fat. You know, there's the corner where Bond is here. Pico in La Cienega. I'm coming out of the bank on Saturday because this Bank of America is open on Saturdays. So I'm coming out of the bank, and there's one of these women that I see on this corner begging with a sign. When the light turns red, she walks out with her sign that says, I have 3 kids, I'm hungry, I need money, etc. And I see her, I see a couple, they kind of rotate, and I always say to myself, oh, she's working her shift. She's just working her shift right now. Oh, how long I always think to ask her, how long you got on your shift, huh? Hey, you receiving any applications? What's the pay like? I say that because I never quite believed. I always, these people are kind of scamming, right? But I don't really know. But that suspicion is enough for me not to give money. I had someone recently, in fact, at the Vons nearby asked me for food. He was an older individual. He was like, please, can you buy me some food? I don't know if I was being beta, but I bought him food. It's very rare someone asks me for food and they're standing next to the food that I can buy. Usually they ask for money and other things. I don't know if I should have done that, but I did. That being said, what was I saying? I'm talking about the woman at the bank. I'm coming out of the bank and I see her with the sign, and I don't know, it occurred to me to ask her because I see her sign and I read it. It says 3 kids. And I'm like, oh, that's nice. That's so sad. And I'm like, I'm kind of giving her a little bit of a like mama energy because I'm goading her into a trap. And she asks, and she's like, yes, I'm looking for money, please. And I ask her, well, 3 kids? What are their names? She stops and she's like, I forgot. She says, I forgot. She blurts out, I forgot. And I'm like, you forgot your kids' names? You forgot your kids' names? She's like, Romani. I'm Romani. I took that to mean she's trying to say that she can't speak English all of a sudden. And I'm like, okay, anyways, I walk away. Why was I telling you that? Because I'm telling you about cereal. This is all connected. Please, just follow me. I'm coming out of the bank. I'm seeing them beg. And they live it up. Living in America is amazing. You can get fat. You could be a Romani in the streets scamming people and saying you got 3 kids. Say you got 3 kids. I'm like, what are their names? I'm just out of curiosity. I just want to know who I'm feeding. I just want to know the little Romani children I'm feeding. I want to know the names of the kids I'm helping. So you're living it up in America. And even though things are crazy, I get to buy meat. And if you're living on minimum wage, like I was saying earlier, you eat pretty well still. Just, maybe you don't get to live in an apartment, get a roommate, but you'll live pretty well, I think, in my opinion. Well enough to eat, well enough to even make gains in the gym if you wanted to. Yes. You eat well enough to eat meat most days, if not every day. Eat meat, red meat, chicken, protein. So, despite all the problems and whatever's happening in America, like Sean was saying on the Hake Report earlier, it's the nicest house in a bad neighborhood. And the bad neighborhood is the world. So I'm thankful I get to eat meat and all that. I don't want to eat, as much as I love LNC, I don't want to eat cereal for dinner. That's not what I want my dinner to be. I don't know who wants cereal to be for dinner. Who wants cereal?
When I say cereal, you say...
Wait. Let me set that up better. Tell me, folks. Tell me, one's in the chat. Can I get a 1 in the chat if you want cereal for dinner?
When I say cereal, you say dinner. Cereal.
Dinner!
Cereal.
Dinner!
Chicken!
You can have the night off, chicken.
Ah, okay, I'll go marinate.
Cereal.
Dinner!
Cereal.
Dinner!
Give chicken the night off, Kellogg's says. Kellogg's advertises to their customers, telling them to give chicken the night off because we're having cereal for dinner. And look at how excited the family is. They're so excited for dinner. Not only are the kids excited for cereal dinner, sugary cereal dinner, not only are the kids absolutely excited, because why wouldn't they be? They love their sugary cereal in the morning. Mom and dad are absolutely ecstatic. And no, this is not strange or stretching reality, even in the slightest. Look at how happy mom and dad are.
Chicken.
Okay.
Look at how happy mom and dad are to have chicken take the night off. No protein tonight? It's okay. We have a box of Fruit Loops, Frosted Flakes, and Mini Wheats.
Yeah! Cereal!
Yeah! Look at him.
Chicken.
Look at how happy dad is. Chicken. Look at the face he made when Chicken spoke up and reared his ugly face. We're not eating chicken. Didn't you hear the commercial? Didn't you hear Tony the Tiger? Look at Dad's face when Chicken raises his voice.
Chicken.
Are you kidding me? You think we're going to eat chicken? Okay. This is so funny. I'm laughing because this is strange and funny and concerning at many levels because there's no way this is a viable replacement for dinner, right? There's no way that this is a normal thing. Cereal should be a luxury, sugary treat, luxurious treat, late at night, maybe. But this commercial makes me think Kellogg's and whoever owns Kellogg's, they want cereal for the masses, for the peasants. Cereal, manja for the masses. Nutrition? Vitamins, minerals, protein, balanced diet? No. I'm not worried about that. We need to feed people cheap food. Look, I'm not just the one saying it. Kellogg's CEO, 𝒏𝒊𝒄𝒌𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒎 is the one saying it, okay? I'm not the one just saying it, okay?
The cereal category has always been quite affordable, and it tends to be a great destination when consumers...
Let's back that up. Let's back that up for the folks in the back who did not hear.
The cereal category has always been quite affordable, and it tends to be a great destination when consumers are under pressure. So some of the things that we're doing is first messaging. We got to reach the consumer where they are. So we're advertising about cereal for dinner. If you think about the cost of cereal for a family versus what they might otherwise do, that's going to be much more affordable. The other places that we like to go is we talk about making sure we have the right pack at the right price in the right place.
Sorry, I got a comment already. Cereal's always been affordable and it's always been loved. So no, I don't think there's anything wrong with saying cereal's for dinner. And we just got to get the right pack at the right place. So if you're in a Mexican area where you got a whole bunch of kids and you're in a Smart and Final over there, we got to make sure we pack those grocery stores with the big value packs of cereal because they're having kids. He didn't say any of this. I'm adding to it. And we gotta just meet the consumer where they are.
Place. So having a different size pack that'll have a different price point, that'll take some pressure off the consumer while they're shopping. So those are some of the things that we're doing, but in general...
Some of the things you're doing, thank you.
Cereal category is a place that a lot of folks might come to because the price of a bowl of cereal with milk and with fruit is less than $1. So you can imagine why a consumer under pressure might find that to be a good place to go.
Consumer under pressure. Translation, increasingly just your like average family, low income people, I guess. Really everybody, because it affects everybody, but if you make more, you don't feel the pressure much. But that's what he means by consumers under pressure. He means this economy and everybody. Let me let him say what he's saying.
All right. I'm all for innovation and marketing, but the idea of having cereal for dinner, is there the potential for that to land the wrong way?
We don't think so. In fact, it's landing really well right now, Carl. When we look at all of our data, of course, we would know that breakfast cereal is the #1 choice for in-home consumption. We understand that for breakfast.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing because there's something I love about this character, and I don't know anything about this 𝒏𝒊𝒄𝒌𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒎, and I don't know if he's playing a character. But if I was a director of a movie and I had a character who was this like smiling CEO and everything's okay, I would want 𝒏𝒊𝒄𝒌𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒎 to play that. Or someone like 𝒏𝒊𝒄𝒌𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒎. You know what I'm saying here? That character is just so funny. Like, we don't think it's going to land it badly at all. In fact, we think people love it. We think people love it. They love cereal. They'll eat it with a smile. And so we're doing the best. There's something I love about that. There's something hilarious.
It turns out that over 25% of our consumption is outside the breakfast occasion. A lot of it's at dinner, and that occasion continues.
Who'd have thunk? I wonder what the percentage is on LNC. Gary, can we get the numbers on LNC? What percentage of cereal is eaten during the late night hours? We're going to need that.
To grow, as well as a snacking occasion. But cereal for dinner is something that is probably more on trend now, and we would expect to continue as that consumer is under pressure.
And he says it with a smile. There's something funny about that. And also dark, because that's not a good trend, I don't think. I don't think that's a good trend. I think that's a desperation thing. That's a desperation tactic, maybe. And like people in my chat are saying, as much as we like cereal, I don't know if they would have this smile, ecstatic smile on their face if they had to have cereal for dinner. And then dinner again. And then dinner again. So everybody's saying short the stock. I got some stock. I got investors in the chat. Hey, investors in my chat, explain to me what you're talking about. Don't leave us out of the... You're leaving money on the table. Don't leave us out. What do you mean? Who are you shorting and why? Are you shorting Kellogg's? Short the stock. Short the stock. Kosher food, says Frederick. Frederick, how you doing? But what was I saying? You see in the mess, you see in the multiple levels of this story. It's hilarious. We get to talk about cereal, the economy here. Overlords willing to, well, you know how it goes. Ukraine, foreign wars and all this, the borders, subsidies for all these immigrants, migrants, aliens. They called them illegal. Where do you think all that money's got to come from? Okay. Do you think this pressure, they're talking about pressure on the consumer. Where do you think that pressure is coming from? Why do you think the consumer is being pressured? Because the ship has to go somewhere, and they want it to go this way. And it costs the vehicle of this change is your pain, consumer. Anyways, what's up, Sion? How you doing? Ground beef is only like $3 a pound. Yeah, exactly. So we live in a country where we enjoy that. We don't want cereal for dinner, I don't think. Right? Let the peasants eat cereal, writes Discern Report. People, and the Discern Report is reporting on stagflation and skimpflation, a couple of phenomenons in the inflated current market, and that's happened before apparently, where consumers are buying products for the same price, but they're getting less in the package, for example, or they're getting lower quality ingredients or materials. Interesting. They also, Discern Report, in this article by Brandon Smith, writes about the 1971 to 1981 stagflation crisis. Anybody know about this? Anybody know? In my chat, Brandon Smith writes, it was one of the worst economic declines in American history next to the Depression. And it's an event that no one talks about. A lot of people, specifically Gen Z, believe that our current era is the worst financial era of all time, and that their generation has been shafted by previous generations. This is inaccurate, writes Brandon Smith. The stagflation disaster of the 70s was far worse. That said, it shows us where the country is eventually headed, and it's not looking good. Isn't that an interesting piece of history? I mean, I don't know anything about this. Anybody lived through that? 70 to 81, they're saying that's the worst economic time. You say? It was a difficult time. Bill, we got Billy in the studio. Harder. Carter. You're right. You said Carter? Yeah. I heard stuff about him. That he was Carter. Is he the peanut president? My peanuts went sour. Carter, peanut president. Is he? Jimmy Carter, the peanut president. You know, he died because his peanuts went sour. I think I might be wrong about that. I think I just made that up. Yeah. Okay. I think I just made that up. Peanut president, they said that he was horrible with the economy. That he was, they're saying Biden, they compare Biden to Carter for similar reasons. I hear, but I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, people in my chat agreeing that inflation was horrible at the time. You know, I bring that little piece of history up from the CERN report. You know, out of an interest, I guess a hope, hope, beta. But any hope, if anyone's like, I don't know, tripping in my chat or listening to my show, it's too difficult, Nick. It's just too hard. What do you mean, get a minimum wage job, Nick? What are you, crazy? So yeah, skimpflation. What else do we got to say about this? That's really everything. LNC, cereal. We love it, but we don't want it for dinner. 888-775-3773. What else? What else? Did I have I felt like I had a final point on this. I think that's everything. I don't think I had anything else about this. Okay. Let's move on. You know what's something else interesting I heard on the Hake report that Joel and Sean were talking about? Hey, back it up and watch their guest host episode. Absolutely fantastic. So fascinating. And there was something interesting Sean said about, I think it was a caller or someone called in and they were saying something about Trump and accusations and all these legal cases. And the conversation centered around believing accusations and all this stuff without waiting for the facts to come out or for these cases to finish or for the truth to come out and all that. And how people make judgments and assumptions in their mind. And how they can go that far and assume that someone did something or said something and all that when they don't really know. And what was it that Sean, the statute of limitations got brought up because, as you know, Trump was at the center, embroiled at the center of this civil case with 𝒔𝒐𝒄𝒊𝒂𝒍� over an alleged rape, and he was found liable for defaming her. And I forget the exact details, but the jury in that case was asked to, I don't know what the word is, have an opinion on this whole rape allegation, even though it wasn't part of the case because it was civil. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. I believe the jury, in a rare turn of events where a jury in this situation wouldn't normally comment on this, was asked to comment on the rape allegations, and they said they found the allegations not credible. So that's interesting. But why was I bringing that up? Because Sean and Joel were talking about this a little bit, and the statute of limitations got brought up. You know, 𝒔𝒐𝒄𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔 came out decades later, like 30 years later, to allege that Trump raped her in this department store. And you might think, and she was only allowed to do that because of a very recent change in New York law that allowed that statute of limitations to change, where you can accuse someone 35 years ago of a crime. And it made me think of a comment I said not too long ago about the statute of limitations and that whole notion. And I was just pondering on that. I realized the wisdom of it, the wisdom of a statute of limitations. Why is it that there are laws in place so that if enough time passes, you can't bring up a crime from the past and bring it to court and all that? It's just done. It's just done. It's past the statute of limitations. And I think one of the main points there is the main wisdom there is obvious, is an obvious one, which is, well, people lie. People lie, and it's harder to prove things from that long ago, so we're going to put a limit on it. But I think there's also even and I've mentioned this before, but I think there's even a deeper wisdom in having a statute of limitations. Because in 30 years, let's say a horrible thing happened. Because you might think, well, I hear you. It's difficult to prove stuff and people lie. But still, that doesn't mean you can't. Justice is justice and justice must be served. Even if it's 35 years later. Well, let me posit you a different way of considering this. Because in 35, imagine this. Imagine something horrible happened. Let's say 𝒔𝒐𝒄𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔 was raped. Or let's pick someone else. Someone else was raped. When they were a kid, even. No less. Something horrible, okay? And they were raped, and it was really bad and traumatic. And they never went to the comps, and for whatever reason, they were too scared. Whatever. Years later, it's time to get justice, right? You might think, well, Nick, there's some cases, right? There's some cases where justice has to be served, even if it's way later. Let me tell you why you should consider something different. Think about this. Let's say this hypothetical person who was raped and all this, and 30 years later wants to come forth with allegations. You gotta understand, in those 30 years, justice was served. In that person's life, let's say that person is guilty of some crime and the truest sin of all, which is anger, really the only sin, the sin that begets all these things and crap that we do. Let's say that person's guilty of that even. That person already is paid for it. You got to understand that in those 30 years, that person is paid for it, and you as the so-called victim had every chance for your justice, which is what? To overcome, to realize that that person wasn't attacking you, but that person was lashing out of this emptiness, this anger they have. They're already hurt and just putting out what they are. You see what I'm saying here? In those 30 years, justice was served in a sense. In those 30 years, that person was left to their devices and their thoughts, whether it was guilt over being shoulda, coulda, woulda been caught, either guilt over that or not care at all, or not even, it laughs about it, cackles, haha, they never caught me. Even that person is paying for it, trust me. They paid for it in those 30 years. Person with evil heart and anger. Because remember, it's easy to judge the PDF file or the murder, but this is for all people with anger. You're paying for it. You're in hell. You're not living life. Okay? And that's not to say we shouldn't put people in jail right now. Obviously, that has its purpose. But I'm talking about the people that 30 years later, you got to understand, in those times, you already had your chance to overcome, to forgive. That person had their chance to be guilty and pay for it within. You see what I'm saying here? 30 years later, now is the time for moving on, forgiveness. And a Christian society would encourage that. And so I think the statute of limitations and all that kind of serves a wise purpose in that way. What do you guys think? You know what I mean? Because changing that is just telling a woman like 𝒔𝒐𝒄𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔, you're right, you're justified in going after a man like this. And you're justified to be angry. It's time to get angry. You never got your justice. It also, it fuels the wrong thing. It fuels the ego. Like, anyways, you guys get me? You know what I'm saying, folks? What do y'all think? 888-775-3773. Yep. What are y'all thinking? Just a side note here, before we get into, the last thing here for the show. I do want to do a little bit of news. Haiti, maybe a little bit of Haitian news. The Haitian peoples. when thinking about the French Canada, I'm thinking about the French peoples in Canada. We want to keep it French. We want to keep the place French, and we don't mean the kind of French peoples in the Haitians. The Haitian peoples. We don't mean that kind of French. Where are my French Canadians at? I'm just messing around, doing a little French Canadian accent. There is some news on Haiti, and I want to mention it here. I'm just checking up on the chat, checking up on the super chats and all that. Carver, thank you for that. With the super chat writes, Master Nick, please buy my kids Chipotle burritos. How many you need? You hungry? Are you hungry? That's funny, Carver. All you had to do is stand next to me and look hungry, and I might buy you food. Just don't beg for money. Don't beg for money. I'm not giving you money. And what are your kids' names? Before I want to know who I'm feeding. I want to know whose kids I'm feeding. What are your kids' names, huh? Master Nick, please buy my kids Chipotle burritos. Oh, Carver, I'll buy your kids. What are your kids' names, huh? That's a joke, Carver. Don't dox your kids in the chat. I'm just trying to see if you're a scammer like these people running shifts over here in the corner. Romani, she called herself Romani. Is that a gypsy? So we got gypsies at Pico La Cienega? Romani. Anybody know? I'm looking it up. Wikipedia says the Romani, colloquially known as the Roma, are an ethnic group of Indo-Aryan origin. Okay. I'm learning something here. We're getting culturally enriched. You're hearing my voice. You're getting enriched. I thought gypsy was just I don't know, a designation. Kind of I don't know. Is Romani a occupation or a religion or an ethnicity? Is it a religion or an ethnicity? I feel like I've run into this conversation before. Are you Jewish? Are you religious or ethnicity? It's obviously a little bit of both, right? Is that the same thing with the Romani, the gypsies? Is it an ethnic thing, but it's also we're like Aladdin in the streets? Help me out, folks. Maybe you can help me, chat. What a mess. Amazing. Well, I wish that Romani lady well and her 3 children whose names she forgot. I also suddenly forgot how to speak English. That was so amazing. I couldn't believe she blurted that out. I forgot. I forgot. I almost want to do a Predator Poachers. I'm almost getting the temptation and thrill to do like a Predator Poachers style video where I show up, and I'm like, "Excuse me, miss, you thought you were talking to a donor. You thought you were talking to someone who was going to give you charity, but actually, I'm the scam seekers. I'm with the scam seekers, miss, and you're on camera right now. You're scamming people. 911's already on the way." And she starts crying. No, but my, don't tell my husband. Hey, Mirden, Nick, how does someone stop thoughts of suicide? Hold on, Mirden. Is it Mirden? Nick, how does someone stop thoughts of suicide? Is it your own thoughts or someone else? Mirden, can you hear me? 888-775-3773. Mirden, how does someone stop thoughts of suicide? Have you already stopped? Have you already tried? It's a little difficult, huh? How does someone stop thoughts of suicide? Call me, 888-775-3773. But listen, Mirden, how'd you hear about my show? Don't worry, Mirden. What do you know about thoughts? Have you heard about my show? 888-775-3773. Listen, Mirden, you can't stop them. Try and stop any thought. It's like holding up plates. You just keep dropping them. It just gets worse. It gets harder. You're trying to hold up all these eggs. You keep dropping eggs. You're like, oh, how about let go? How about just let the thoughts be and watch and hear them say, kill yourself. Watch them and hear say, you're this and you're that. And just watch them. And don't say they're true. Don't say they're lie. Don't say anything. In fact, you can even hear me say, maybe you've never heard my show or Jesse or anything. You're like, what is this guy even talking about? Watch my thoughts. I don't even quite believe him when he says that. Do it anyways. Can you hear me, Mirden? Anyways, Mirden, 888-775-3773. You can also call tomorrow between the hours of 6 to 9 a.m. if you're listening to me in the chat, Mirden. 6 to 9 a.m. Pacific time, 888-775-3773. We'll get you straight. We'll get you on the right path. You know what I'm saying? Let them be. Let them be. You can't control them. And then maybe you'll notice it's not you. Thank you, Mirden. Appreciate that. Right on. Am I saying your name correct? Thank you, Lin Yan Chen. Appreciate that. I will. Right on. Well, thank you that. Thank you, chat. Thank you, Lin Yan Chen. And thank you, Mirden. Yep, you're so right, Mirden. You can't. And it'd be nice to hear, and it'd be nice to discuss more what you're going through, because maybe other people have gone through that and can understand, and maybe we all learn a little something. Because although we're going through the same things, although the spirit is the same in everyone, it's nice to hear what it is exactly you're going through, because you want to talk to people where they are. And really, almost all the time, where they are is where everybody is. But it'd be nice to hear, because it'd be nice to point out some of the possible lies you might be hearing, Mirden. Or Murden, my bad, Murden. It might be nice to point some of those lies out. But I'm sure you could do that on your own, Murden. Just pay attention. Because, like, what's it telling you? Start there. Calm down, number one. First, calm down. And if you can't calm down, just watch yourself not being calm, and then just know that that's the answer. Know that that's what you got to do, though. Know that, okay, I can't calm down right now, but eventually I got to calm down, and that's the answer. The answer is to calm down. And then it's like, then listen to those thoughts and be like, what's it saying? What's it trying to tell me? What's it trying to convince me of? It's probably trying to convince you all sorts of crazy things, man. And that's why you should kill yourself. Anyways, thank you, Murden. Call my show, call Jesse, do your thing. Appreciate you seeing you in the chat. Never seen that name. All right, last few minutes of the show here. Shall we? On the Asians. It's getting crazy. I mean, I've reported on these gangs that have taken over this whole a country. The leader, president or prime minister, I forget, left the whole country. Incredible. And I'm reading some of these articles. One out of Haitian Times that's commenting on just the chaos in Haiti. And if you don't know, basically, there's like a state of emergency. the American government, State Department, was putting out like I forget what they're called, but they were warning that Haiti's a mess and that something needs to be done because these gangs are taking over and law and order has basically fallen apart. The stench of dead bodies fills the air, according to some reports, okay? And I found the story so interesting. Well, one, initially, because of how quickly society could fall apart. And it really only takes, right, society's made up of people, and the people continue to, there's a stagflation, shrimpflation on the people in America. They are of lower quality, yet take up the same space and cost the same. Hopefully you're following me. So anyways, so that's all gone bad. They're saying they got issues. Gangs have taken over. And that's all fascinating on its own. Dozens of U.S. citizens evacuate Haiti on first State Department charter flight. Not only that, they're already, according to CNN, flights are coming in of immigrants. They're coming into Florida. They're coming into America. This is from Revolver. Florida is gearing up for a massive influx of Haitian migrants, all expecting a warm U.S. welcome. It's a huge change, and that's the idea here. We got to take him in because that's the loving and helpful thing to do. But what incentive is there to deal with these gangs over there? Well, you got to leave to save yourself, and I guess so. But when you have a government that encourages this kind of stuff, open borders, everything, you got to think, is there anyone, if the Haitians themselves want to leave and they don't want to fix it, and America's pretending, who loves, where are the Haitians? You know what I mean? So they're coming in. What else did I want to say? They're coming in. Right, they're already bringing them in. Apologies, big yawn there. But I'm reading this article from the Haitian Times that describes life in Haiti and why this 𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒎 and his kind of diagnosis as to why Haiti is in the state it's in. And he makes some very interesting observations. This is a Haitian man who grew up in Haiti and then moved to America. And like I said, he writes about Haiti, how it got there. Few families control 90% of Haiti's wealth. And it gives a veneer that Haiti is a black-run country when in fact they control virtually every business and entity in Haiti. They allow the political class to exist to protect their narrow personal interest. Dang, that sounds so familiar. It sounds like American politics a little bit. And in that you realize that this is the basic kind of animal nature coming back. Tribal, for yourself, nothing to do with lasting values and ideals that goes beyond you as a person, and it means you're thinking about others, thinking about the future. You know what I'm saying here by that? I'm talking about your fellow country people and their children and their futures. This person is describing a different kind of society where wealth is held up in this way. And it reminds me a little bit of that. If you remember, when I spoke recently about, it was this Peace Corps worker who worked with like the United Nations or something like that, a Peace Corps officer, and they were all going around in Africa with different Peace Corps missions. And he described the societies and how they were built over there, and how in the places where he saw, at least, society was all centered around this messed up family dynamic where you got to give up everything for the parents, where you got to take care of them. You got to give them everything. He described the story of this young enterprising individual in this African town who went off, used his savings to buy like ingredients and all that to bake bread and sell it. When his own father or stepfather or something like that shows up and says, "Oh, wow, that's amazing. You made bread." The family's hungry and proceeds to take all the bread. And the young entrepreneur investor is left, you know, he's left with his underwater in his investment. You see what I'm saying? And he would not even dare say no to his parents because that's how society was ordered over there. And you realize in that's a very animalistic, animal nature way of ordering society. You're not an individual. And I realize that's how people here are as they become more and more more animalistic. They become more like that. And you can see how America can very quickly become Haiti, South Africa, and all that. Boom! There's the segment. Tied with a bow very nicely. And that's pretty much the show, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. We got more American Anchor Baby tomorrow, noon. I think the lidocaine is pretty much worn off. Appreciate that. All right, folks. All right, y'all. That's it for me. Take care, and I shall see y'all tomorrow for more American Anchor Baby at noon. Take care. Peace.